Cherry. I'm here today with my sister-in-law, Linda Cherry. She's presently on the Murray City Council and is running for re-election. I wanted to ask her some questions today that I think will be very important to you when you cast your vote this year. Linda, what influences you when an ordinance comes up to make you want to vote yes or no?
Several factors come into play, Pat, but what influences me the most is the realization that I must always remember that my vote has the power to impact every citizen who lives or works in Murray. And that being said, with my voting power comes the responsibility that I must consider carefully whether or not my vote will make Murray a better place in which to live, work, and raise a family.
How did you vote on the Murray payroll tax?
I didn't hesitate. I voted against the payroll tax.
Okay, why did you vote against the payroll tax?
Well, I had received actually hundreds of emails and phone calls from people that I did not know, but they lived here, they were citizens here, and they were upset about the prospect of having a payroll tax. And every single one of them asked me to vote against it. Many of them talked about what kind of hardship it would put their family through if this payroll tax passed. The Murray-Callaway County Hospital, Murray State University, Primary Care, the EDU, and the Chamber, every single one of these organizations came out against the payroll tax very decidedly. And so I voted against the payroll tax. It was not a choice with me. I voted against it. Personally, my husband, Don Cherry, and I are retired, and we would benefit by having a payroll tax. Our property taxes would be lowered, our insurance tax rates would be lowered, and we wouldn't have to buy 3 city stickers for our vehicles each and every year. But it's not about me. It's about all of those people who have elected me and re-elected me, and they've asked me to vote against the payroll tax. So for me, it was no question. I would have to vote against it.
So in other words, you're saying that your position on the city council is that you vote for the people who voted for you.
That's right. I'm there to represent them and be their voice. That's exactly right.
Okay, other than the city council, what other things have you been involved in the city that will make you really qualified for this position and connected to the people of Murray?
Okay. What I have done has helped to keep me in touch with the citizens of Murray. Before I ever thought of running for a city council, I was at a point in my life where our 3 children were grown and out of the house, and Don was still working, and so I had no time constraints. I started volunteering actually for 3.5 years at the Murray-Callaway County Animal Shelter. I worked there 6 days a week, and I loved it. I just felt like I was really doing something good for those animals there at the shelter. Later, though, I co-founded Lost But Loved Animal Rescue, and we raised funds to get the cages at the animal shelter cut out with torches and have them replaced with brand new kennels. We also installed new air conditioner in the cat room, and we installed industrial-sized fans in the ceiling of the dog room because it did have an air conditioner in it. We also organized and sponsored Murray-Callaway County's only low-cost spay-neuter program, and during that time we had over 200 cats and dogs spayed or neutered at a very low cost. We also raised funds to build Western Kentucky's first and only dog park. And after that, I was a CASA volunteer. CASA is a court-appointed special advocate for children. And I did that for 3 years, and I can attest to just how critical it is that we have CASA volunteers always for these children that don't have a voice. And the CASA volunteer will become that child's voice in court. I volunteered to tutor residents of the New Beginnings Transition Home for women who have been recently released from jail or prison and might want to take their GED, so I would tutor them for that. I also volunteered to stay at the warming center at St. John's Episcopal Church to receive anyone who needed a warm and safe place to stay on those coldest of cold winter nights. I serve on the board of Habitat for Humanity, And I also completed a 6-week training course taught by Bill Call, which is designed to save lives in Murray by teaching our citizens how to be proactive regarding emergency preparedness and in the event of a natural or man-made disaster.
Okay, as a city councilwoman, what is your philosophy or beliefs that a city council person should have?
Well, a city council representative is basically a public servant. That's what we should be. And to be a good public servant, one has to have a servant's heart, which means putting others first and self last. And I believe that my responsibility as a public servant must start with ensuring the safety and welfare of our citizens. I should be a good and responsible steward of our citizens' tax dollars, and I should represent the interests and the concerns of those who elect me to speak for them with my vote.
Okay, as a city council woman, have you seen that there is pressure to conform to other people's vote?
Yes, there is. There absolutely is. There's no doubt about that.
Do you ever conform to their vote if it's against your beliefs and your constituents'
Oh,
beliefs?
no, I do not. I would not. I mean, I could not. No, I vote. I have to vote on my principle, and knowing that I have the voters' interests at heart. I know what they want because they let me know what they want.
So you listen?
I do listen, and they still call me all the time, and I will take their question or their concern to the mayor and talk with him about it, and then I get back with different individuals who have called me or who have emailed me and let them know an answer to their question or their concern.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Don Cherry, Linda's husband, and I was wanting to pose some questions for Linda that kind of brings the personal side in. Linda, being your husband, I'm well aware of the hours and time you've put in with the city council, but other than what we see in the newspapers and what we see on TV, tell us some of the things that you've been involved in with boards and committees.
Okay. While serving on the Human Rights Commission, I spearheaded Murray's first ever anti-bullying campaign. And this was to raise awareness that bullying is here. It's in our schools, it's in our workplaces, it's even in our, I guess maybe in our own backyards in some cases. This anti-bullying campaign actually became a city proclamation, which we were very proud of, and it served as a model for other cities in Kentucky, which we were also very proud of that we made that type of recognition. Later, again with the Human Rights Commission, I spearheaded their efforts to raise awareness of the plight of low-income families who struggle to find safe and affordable housing, because we have so many low-income families that actually many of them will end up being homeless. I spearheaded the Human Rights Commission's efforts to educate and raise awareness of the human trafficking problem in Western Kentucky, which is a part of a $32 billion industry worldwide, and it's actually become the second largest criminal organization in the world. So it's here and it's very dangerous, and our efforts were to just raise awareness and educate people how to recognize it and what to do when they do recognize it, what their options are. I also served 4 years on the Gentry House, which provides a safe transitional housing for families with children. It's not just for a husband and wife, but they must have children as well. And while serving on the park board, I raised funds to replace the plastic fluorescent lights in the old historical Waters Schoolhouse with a reproduction of traditional schoolhouse lights, which really added to the just to the feel of an old schoolhouse. And we're very lucky to have that house in our park. It's like a little jewel that nobody knows about. I also initiated the Avenue of Flags that's in Central Park, and we see those flags flying at certain flag-appropriate holidays. I also initiated the drive to make our park ADA compliant, which is Americans with Disability Act compliant, that with the proceeds off of the sale of all those flags that you see flying in our park at certain times of the year. And I also initiated the return of the Old Time Thursday Trade Day in the park, and I hear just a lot of positive comments. People are glad that we got that back. So I initiated that, and it's just been very fulfilling, and I feel like the time that I spend has been very well spent.
Good. Okay, further on the personal side, instead of how much you love your husband, tell us about your family.
Okay. Well, my family or me? Always. Okay. I'm a retired public school teacher, and I've been married to my husband here, Don Sherry, for 42 years.
Bless her.
Yeah. We have 3 children. Laura Jones, who's married to wonderful son-in-law Philip Jones. Jenny Jameson, who is married to wonderful son-in-law, Circuit Court Judge Jamie Jameson. And Matthew Cherry, married to my answered prayer, Monica Woods Cherry. We have a 4-year-old granddaughter, an 18-month-old granddaughter, an 8-month-old grandson, and a 3-month-old grandson. So we've been very blessed with our children and with our grandchildren. I'm a born-again Christian. We are members of First Baptist Church, Murray, where I was baptized in 1976, if you remember. My father-in-law is the late Mayor Bill Cherry, and Jean Cherry is my mother-in-law, and Pat Cherry here and Dean Cherry are my sister and brother-in-law. Ginger, our rescue pit bull, and Tom Kitty and Boo Radley, our rescue cats, round out our little family here in Murray. Just about everything that I have been involved with before and after I was elected to the City Council in some way deals with groups or people or even dogs and cats who feel and actually have no voice in the situation that they're in. Your vote is your voice, and I would ask you to please help elect me so that I can be your voice on the City Council. I do promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and I humbly ask for you to vote on November 6th. Thank you very much.
Go Racers!
Go Racers!